Friday. It's Friday the 13th, bro.
Whoa.
I didn't even realize that. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. It's Kyle Mounts here. Today we're talking about auto tariffs. Again, of course, Gen Z shopping with Google and a wild VO3 AI-generated image. That was, commercial that made it big time playing during the NBA Finals. So this is no longer, just a little thing in your stream. This is like major.
This isn't your random Saturday night hanging out with the AI type stuff.
No,
you know what I mean?
OTT.
The world's crazy.
It's crazy, and I guess this is going to break the ice, and we'll see what comes of it. We have thoughts. Of course, we have thoughts.
We got thoughts.
Of course,
we got thoughts.
Hey, still, again, we're saying every day, but keep releasing episodes of these ASOTOCon sessions, which are amazing. Search ASOTOCon. If you just search ASOTOCon, 2 words or 1 word? 2 words on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, you'll find it. But ASOTOCon sessions today, these are 10, 15-minute podcasts. Real quick shot, right live from the floor at ASOTOCon, but just real meaningful conversations. This one is Joe Castellino of American Motors Group. Right size your shop, stay ahead of tariffs.
Come on.
Which is pretty great. Interviewed by Austin Conroy. Yeah, he's just such a fun interview, actually. I still haven't caught up on all these, so I'm excited to listen to this one.
I know. I'm ready.
The other one with Richard Lupo of AppleTree Honda, how to never have a technician or service advisor shortage. That sounds like a little magic pixie dust.
Look, I feel like
everyone wants to sprinkle on their service department.
If you're somewhere in a dealership, you should be listening to that guy. Yes, wow. That's a strong title there.
I know. So check those out. Friday. Big weekend plans, Kyle?
Not much. Is it it's Father's Day, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, yes. I mean, we got a rib place we're gonna go to. That's kind of that's Father's Day.
Yeah, I bet a rib place that you're gonna pick in Nashville doesn't suck.
It's not bad. It's not bad. They got these sweet potato fries that are like thick cut and they're perfect every time.
That's your love language.
It is my love language.
Look, if you ever want to schmooze Kyle over, show up with a plate of meat and sweet potato fries, and he'll do whatever you ask.
Come on.
Let's see. Follow it out with Jenny's if you need it. If you have a really especially big ask, and he'll be a total lay down for whatever it is.
Lay me out.
Speaking of the opposite of a total lay down, total opposite. Let's just segue right into the first story. In a high energy speech yesterday, President Trump proposed raising auto tariffs. That's fun. And celebrated. It's good to know. Sometimes it's good to be the center of focus, and sometimes it's not. And celebrated a legislative rollback of California's EV mandates, a double down on his strategy to protect domestic auto manufacturing and consumer choice. He suggested raising auto tariffs above the current 25% level to encourage automakers to produce more vehicles domestically. He did point to GM's $4 billion investment in U.S. plants as a positive result of existing tariff policies. He then signed legislation last week that rolled back California's zero emissions vehicle mandate, would have banned new car gas sales by 2035. It's now closed, finalized. It's happening. Dealer and manufacturer groups applauded the repeal, arguing it protects affordability and nationwide regulatory consistency. Our friend John Bozzella, CEO of Alliance for Automotive Innovation, said customers don't want the government telling them what kind of car to buy. That's just kind of a repetition of what we've been saying. 11 states led by California have filed legal challenges against the repeal kind of immediately, like they were doing a press conference before Trump was done his press conference. Like they had it locked and loaded.
They had it lined up.
Calling it an overreach that undermines state-level emission standards. So we have tariffs, we have domestic manufacturing, we have removal of regulations on what an automaker can and can't sell. It's kind of a wild time, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to get in the political game. It is kind of wild that these 11 states are just going straight back to the run and just saying hey, we should be able to manage these state level emission standards. That's always been the case. But, for all of automotive, it's kind of a celebration win on the EV mandate side. However, then you've got the whip back just 1 week later and also we may raise auto tariffs again. This is just the roller coaster that we're going to be on, and we just got to live with it at this point and make sure that, hey, you got cars to sell today. They're on the lot. We know what they cost. We know what they can sell for. So don't let people freak out too much. But do know, paying attention to, the way the market is swinging or maybe not swinging over the next couple months is going to be important. But I think the celebration is due for automakers and dealers alike, seeing like, hey, we're not going to be potentially constrained by this 2035 requirement across 11 states.
It's such a tough environment. I think the biggest thing from a frontline perspective is the things that this puts in a consumer's mind, right? I don't think there are a lot of people freaking out on the sales floor and the service drive this morning over any of this news, but I do think that there are a lot of consumers that watch the news a lot.
I get the questions.
And right, yeah, exactly. And so they're going to be walking in with a mentality or a thought of like, how does this going to affect this? When should I make a purchasing decision? Which I think is the biggest opportunity to communicate well in the service lane, right? Like as far as people are thinking of,
exactly right?
Because the most certain time we have is right now, right? You know what things cost now, you know what your car is worth right now, and if people have a question about 3 months from now, 6, 12 months from now, the best thing to do, the most certain thing you can help them do is move into something that's going to give them certainty, peace of mind, and let them not care because they just bought their new car.
Help them buy a car, fam.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Speaking of helping people buy things.
Segue.
That's good.
You know, usually we do 2 auto stories. This is so close to an auto story, or at least the shopper behavior one. Google is making gains, get this, with Gen Z shoppers chipping away at Amazon's dominance in product search. New data showing young consumers are increasingly turning to Google, not just for browsing, but even when they know exactly what they want to buy, which is usually, right, Amazon's a good first step. Morgan Stanley data shows a rise in 16 to 24-year-olds using Google for product research, both general and specific. As of March, 30% of Gen Z shoppers who knew what they wanted still started on Google, which is up 21% from last fall.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Amazon's share dropped from 41% to 34% over the same period. Analysts are suggesting that Google's new generative AI tools like AI Overviews and Google Lens may be fueling the shift in ease of use. Here's a quote from Google's chief business officer, Philip Schindler, said, "The volume of commercial queries on Google search has increased with the launch of AI Overviews." So I guess they seem pretty certain, like AI Overviews, people just come here to see where they should buy and where they should
buy. I mean, I think one of the unique things about Google search is they've done such a great job at the UI UX, right? It is clean, it's friendly, it presents great information right up front. And Amazon has made a living on how do I get so much information in front of you that you have to just like buy everything right now. And so Google and them leveraging AI is getting the most relevant things to the front right off the bat. Not just that, but I think Gen Zers are much more like brand loyal. They're thinking about what brand they're buying as opposed to just like the cheapest thing. And Amazon is going to surface all of the cheap things, all of the things, made by the companies in Asia that are just like dime a dozen type stuff. And Google's going to surface a lot more brand relevant stuff because there's SEO and things like that built into these brand relevant searches. So I think that there's that maybe tend to behavior is, oh no, I want to buy from the actual source of the product. And that's a totally different behavior set.
I mean, who would have thought? Gen Z heading back to Google.
Heading back to Google, old Google machine.
It's just
I also think that there's like the YouTube Google relationship potentially there, and
that hasn't
similar
changed, but it hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like what's changed in the last 12 months?
I don't know.
And that's the thing. But regardless, I mean, I think this is just indicative of the fact that marketing departments and dealers, or the marketing side overall, has to just be nimble. You have to be on your toes. You have to be paying attention. You have to have partners who are paying attention. This is one of those things when we talk about the importance of having strong partnerships with the other industry partners who you believe are on the edge of it. Because you're running a store, right? You can't always be on the edge of this, but you need to make sure that you have people that know what's going on here so you can enrich your team and get out, because it's just going to keep changing like this. Right. It's just going to keep changing. Like
speaking of being on the edge of it and keeping changing,
this is a fun one.
Segue.
Time. If you're not watching the video version, you should be, and you should be and watch it.
So there's this AI generated ad that we're going to watch in just a second that was made in just 2 days. It aired during the NBA Finals, and it has made a massive platform get an ad cheaper and faster than ever before. Before we go into like how this was made, I want to just check it out because it's going to blow your mind.
And here it comes.
Here it comes. Uh-oh.
We're going to get there.
Close.
I know. Here it comes. We saw it. We didn't hear it. Next, we're going to see it and hear it. And if you're just listening, it's as wild as it sounds.
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on. I'm all in on OKC.
Indiana got that dog in them.
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year? Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S. OKC!
Indy! OKC!
Okay, it was as crazy as it sounded.
Bananas. It was as crazy as it sounds. So it's this ad for company Kalshi that is a betting company, but you see in the ad, if you couldn't watch it, you see this news reporter lady going around. She's in like a bunch of different states talking to old and young people, and they are in the most bombastic, ridiculous situations. Old people in like cut off shirts and shirtless and kind of wild. It was all put together by AI filmmaker PJ Asaturo, who produced the 30-second spot in just 2 days using VO3 and Gemini. The process used AI assisted scripting that yielded 15 usable clips from 300 to 400 generations. The entire project budget came in at just about $2,000.
Oh my gosh.
There was some editing done by CapCut and Premiere, which are CapCut's like a very it's based on the phone, and then Premiere, Adobe's Premiere. Asaturo said the future is small teams making viral brand adjacent content weekly, getting 80 to 90% of the results for way less.
Okay, so a 95% reduction, which would peg this where at like a $200,000 project. Is that am I doing that math right?
Yeah.
2 days, which usually would have been minimum 2 months between planning, shooting, post-production. Sure. And again, I think the biggest part of this story is that this was allowed to be run during the NBA Finals, which is one of the biggest budget placements. And I'm guessing that 99% of people don't understand it's AI.
No.
Anyone who's played with the tools or is paying attention to AI are probably like, hey, I wonder if that was AI.
Right.
But most people aren't,
because there's enough things that it's like, there's no way you would put that together. Right.
Yeah.
But if you're just watching the ad quickly in between, in commercial break, it is just a wild, bombastic. If you had to get all of that set design, all of those people together, fly to all those different locations, in water, around,
light
it. That's I would guess. They're saying a $200,000 production. I bet you it's $300,000 to $400,000 is what that production would have cost.
Yeah, so it's a massive change, but I think bringing this down to our level, if that level, which used to be the pinnacle, the highest level of video production, would be network television production for major sports event, right? Like that's the highest levels of attention you get. If that has just happened, we should not think at all in any way, shape, or form that AI image generation, video, all of that is not going to significantly change the way we need to approach marketing from a creative standpoint, from a cost standpoint. And I think the biggest question is, how do we still make it on brand? How do we still make it feel like it connects? And that so much of that has to do with the creative output, with the brand understanding of who you are. Because I guarantee you, actually, not guess, there are going to be a whole lot of really poorly executed car dealership commercials out there.
Absolutely.
Because it's easy, and it's not easy. It's a new tool, right?
You have to get really good with it. I would say that you have to pick the channels, pick the lanes, pick the times where you do real human interaction, like real type content. And then you pair that with AI generated content, but you have to get really good with the tool and understand why you're using it and where you're using it. But it would be silly to not leverage both in this time.
We could literally have, as we're talking, I'm having all these other thoughts about like, oh, now that they put it out here, what this cost, what would level that. This is going to completely change the production industry, like very, very quickly. Because when a company wants an agency to make a video, you don't think they're gonna be like, hey, can you make one of those AI ones and we'll spend 10 grand instead of 300 grand? What do you think? How's next week? Can we have a concept? Can we have a final video next week? It's going to change the whole dynamic.
Goodness.
And then figure out how to value prop AI video created versus and like what's the value to the viewer, what's the value to the agency. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I don't know. We have a Friday the 13th to get into, so whatever you're doing out there, it's a great time. Communicate with your customers, put them at ease, make them feel welcome, and guess what? It's going to be fine. The AI generation, it doesn't even matter.
It's going to be fine.